Somewhere in the world right now, an ordinary person is doing something that will eventually cause harm, and they have absolutely no idea they are doing it. They are not a criminal, they are not cruel. They probably consider themselves a good, reasonable, even kind human being. And yet, hidden inside their mind is a trait so common, so quietly woven into everyday thinking, that scientists consider it one of the most dangerous psychological forces in human history. It does not look like evil. It does not announce itself. It hides behind confidence, behind certainty, behind the comforting feeling of simply being right. This trait has fueled wars, collapsed empires, ruined relationships, and convinced ordinary people to commit extraordinary harm, all while feeling completely justified the entire time. And the most unsettling part is this: you have it too. So does everyone you know. The only question is whether you are aware enough to recognize it before it controls you. This trait is called overconfidence, but not in the way most people imagine. We are not talking about someone bragging at a party or an overly confident salesman. We are talking about something far more subtle and far more dangerous, a deep, almost invisible certainty that our own judgment, perception, and beliefs are accurate, even when they are catastrophically wrong. Psychologists call this the overconfidence effect, and decades of research have shown that it is not a rare personality flaw found in a few arrogant individuals. It is a built-in feature of the human brain, present in nearly everyone, regardless of intelligence, education, or culture. In fact, studies have repeatedly shown that the more knowledgeable someone becomes in a subject, the more confident they often become, even when their actual accuracy barely improves. This means expertise can sometimes increase the illusion of certainty far more than it increases real understanding. To understand why this happens, we need to look at how the brain evolved. For hundreds of thousands of years, human survival did not depend on being correct. It depended on being fast. If your ancestor heard a rustling in the grass, the brain did not have time to calculate probabilities. It needed to make an instant decision, assume danger, and react immediately. The humans who hesitated to analyze every possibility were often the ones who did not survive long enough to pass on their genes. This means evolution did not design our brains to find truth. It designed our brains to make confident, fast decisions, because confident decisions, even flawed ones, kept our ancestors alive more often than slow, uncertain ones. In other words, we are not naturally wired to be right. We are wired to feel right. And that single difference is the foundation of almost every disaster overconfidence has ever caused. Consider one of the most chilling examples in modern history, the sinking of the Titanic. The ship was widely promoted as unsinkable, not because of careful, humble engineering analysis, but because of overwhelming confidence in human achievement. Officers reduced the number of lifeboats because they were certain the ship could never fail. Even after striking the iceberg, many crew members and passengers initially refused to believe the situation was serious, convinced that their assumptions about the ship's safety must be correct. Overconfidence did not just contribute to the tragedy, it built the very conditions that made the tragedy possible. The most devastating part of the story is not that the ship sank, it is that human certainty, the very thing meant to make people feel safe, was the silent force steering everyone toward disaster. This same psychological mechanism plays out today in environments far less dramatic, but just as dangerous. Doctors, despite years of rigorous training, have been shown in multiple studies to overestimate their diagnostic accuracy, sometimes expressing complete certainty about conditions that turn out to be wrong. Financial experts confidently predict market movements that fail to materialize again and again, yet their confidence rarely decreases after being proven wrong. Investors lose life savings not because they lacked information, but because they were certain their information was correct. Even highly trained pilots, surgeons, and engineers, professionals operating in life-or-death environments, have been involved in catastrophic failures, traced back not to lack of skill, but to unwavering confidence in decisions that deserved more doubt. Here's where the story becomes even more unsettling. Overconfidence does not just affect individual decisions, it shapes entire societies, ideologies, and historical movements. Genocides throughout history were rarely carried out by people who believed they were doing something evil. They were carried out by people utterly convinced they were doing something righteous, necessary, even heroic. Wars have been launched not despite uncertainty, but because of overwhelming confidence that victory was guaranteed, that morality was clearly on one side, that the outcome was already known. The horrifying truth is that catastrophic human suffering is rarely caused by people who openly admit doubt. It is caused by people who eliminate doubt entirely, replacing it with unshakable certainty, and that certainty becomes a weapon far more destructive than any physical tool ever created. Psychologists studying this phenomenon identified something called the Dunning-Kruger effect, a discovery that reshaped how we understand human confidence. Their research revealed a deeply uncomfortable pattern. People with limited knowledge or skill in a particular area often significantly overestimate their own competence simply because they don't know enough to recognize what they are missing. This is not stupidity, it's a structural flaw in human self-perception. To accurately judge your own limitations, you need exactly the kind of expertise that exposes those limitations. But if you lack that expertise, you also lack the awareness required to notice the gap. In simple terms, the less someone understands a topic, the harder it becomes for them to realize how little they understand, which creates a dangerous illusion of mastery built on a foundation of ignorance. But before we point fingers at others, here's the uncomfortable twist this story demands we confront. This trait is not something that belongs to foolish people, while wise people remain immune. Multiple studies have shown that highly intelligent individuals are often just as susceptible, sometimes even more susceptible, because their intelligence gives them more tools to defend their incorrect beliefs. Smart people are not better at avoiding overconfidence. They are simply better at constructing convincing arguments for why their overconfidence is justified. This is why brilliant scientists have clung to disproven theories, why successful business leaders have driven thriving companies into bankruptcy through stubborn certainty, and why some of history's most educated political leaders made catastrophic decisions while feeling absolutely confident they were right. So why does this matter so much right now, in your own life, today? Because overconfidence does not only appear in headlines about disasters and historical tragedies, it quietly shapes everyday decisions. The argument you had where you were certain you were right, the relationship choice you made because you were sure of someone's intentions, the financial decision you trusted completely without questioning it, the medical symptom you dismissed because you were confident it was nothing serious. Each of these moments feels small individually, but collectively, overconfidence is one of the leading psychological forces behind regret, broken relationships, financial ruin, and preventable mistakes across nearly every area of human life. It doesn't always announce itself with dramatic consequences. Sometimes its damage is slow, quiet, and deeply personal. There is a particularly haunting psychological experiment that reveals just how powerful this trait really is. Researchers asked participants to rate their confidence in answering general knowledge questions, then compared their confidence levels to their actual accuracy. Time and time again, across multiple studies and different populations, people consistently overestimated how correct they were, often by significant margins. What makes this disturbing is not the existence of the gap, but how resistant that gap is to correction. Even when participants were shown clear evidence of their inaccuracy, many adjusted their confidence only slightly, still clinging to an inflated sense of certainty. This suggests that overconfidence is not simply a temporary error in judgment, it's a deeply protected psychological state, one the brain actively defends because admitting uncertainty feels uncomfortable, even threatening to our sense of identity and competence. This raises a deeply uncomfortable question that most people avoid asking themselves. If overconfidence feels exactly like correctness from the inside, how would you ever know the difference?
Right now, in this very moment, you likely feel confident about several beliefs you hold to be completely true, about politics, relationships, money, morality, or your own abilities. But certainty is not evidence. Certainty is simply a feeling, generated by a brain that evolved to prioritize speed and emotional comfort over accuracy. The unsettling reality is that the very confidence you feel while reading this sentence could itself be a product of the same psychological trap being described. So, what separates people who manage to avoid catastrophic overconfidence from those who don't? Psychological research points to one surprisingly simple trait: intellectual humility, the conscious, deliberate willingness to hold beliefs loosely enough to update them when new evidence appears. This doesn't mean constant self-doubt or paralyzing indecision. It means cultivating just enough internal friction to pause before fully trusting your own certainty, especially in high-stakes situations. Studies show that individuals who practice intellectual